If you're stuck in 3-5 jail and looking for a way out, this video is totally for you. Going from a 3-5 to a 4-5 isn't about hitting the ball any harder. It's more about making more intelligent decisions. In this video, I'm going to give you 11 quick tips to elevate you from a 3-5 to a 4-5. So if you're ready to go from a 3-5 to a 4-5, let's get cracking. So tip 1 is all about the idea of pushing your dinks, not hitting your dinks. What you see so many 3-5s doing when it comes to choosing their dinks is they're trying to hit the dink, which then causes the ball to kind of pop up and it lacks that little bit of feel. What you want to adopt the mentality of is you want to kind of have the idea that you are pushing that dink away. It gives you so much more feel, but also more dwell on the paddle face. More dwell means more feel. So I'm doing this exact same thing here. I'm going to push this dink away. Not hit, but push. That mentality is so important for controlling the dink. You can see it's going to bring that ball down both height, but also I'm going to feel a lot more confident on that dink. It's all about my idea of accelerating through the ball, through extension, rather than a big backswing from the actual hit. Next quick tip here to get you from a 3-5 to a 4-5 is all about this, grip simplification. We see so many 3-5s, so many 4-0s out there, sorry guys, have different grips that are quite extreme for different shots. So we're thinking back and forth here. We'll have one grip here, have another grip over there, have another grip here. It just makes things so much more complicated. What you want to do is simplify your grip by keeping it in the Eastern forehand grip position. Super important here. One of the big pros in the circuit, Hayden Patrick Smith, does this really, really well when in the kind of transitional zone here of the pickleball court. So going here, I'm in Eastern here. What changes isn't necessarily my grip. What I want to change is the angle of my paddle, which means that when I get a speed up from Carter here whenever he wants, I'm now ready for it and not much has changed. The more I can save down here, the more I can save when the ball is at me and under pressure at high speed. So the next element here is going to elevate you to a 4.5 from the 3-5 is all about how to effectively reset. There's a couple of things here I want to go over when it comes to resets. I'm going to get some resets here. We're going to do blast balls at my feet. Two key things, guys, to a reset is one thing is you want to make sure first thing you do is get a split step off the first motion. So split into a wide base, super duper important. Helps you get to a nice controlled balance and also allows you to use the ball's pace that's been given. The next key thing, guys, is when it comes to your resets is you want to make sure your body is behind the ball. It's sometimes what you see people doing is they have their ball outside of their strike zone. And yes, not always the ball going to be towards you. If you can do your very best to move that body towards the ball's bounce, be amazed how much more efficient you're going to be with your reset. The third thing here, guys, I want you to work on is I want to work on paddle tip. So your paddle tip needs to be at tip down. By that, I mean the corner of your paddle, the corner of the tip, must point towards the ground on both your forehand and your backhand reset. Some examples here. Reset, tip down and hit. Very simply. Tip down, backhand, 2-eats, fine, same idea. Reset, down and hit. You can see I'm splitting. Wide base, tip down. Splitting, wide base, tip down. Get my body as close as I can to the bounce. So important it comes to hitting a reset. The final thing, guys, now of a reset I want you to work on is I want you to try and use your shoulders to control the ball's pace. No wrist motion, but shoulders. So remember, split into a wide base, super duper important. Get your body towards the ball's bounce, tip down towards the ground, and finally, use your shoulders to control the ball's pace. Here we go. There, tip down, using my shoulders. Ball comes fast, shoulders. What I'm not doing, I'm not bending my wrist and flicking it. It doesn't work that way. 3-5s really struggle with that kind of effective third shot or reset by having their wrist get too active when doing their resets. So the next tip is all about applying pressure and not going for the hero shot. You can see on the far side now on the camera, I've got two lines. Right now, at the time of filming, they'll work on the idea of making a singles court 1.5 feet on each side narrower. I want your drive to be the same way. You want to apply pressure through the middle. So rather than going for a hero shot, which may look absolutely awesome and feel awesome that one time, but 9 times out of 10, or 8 times out of 10 to be realistic, you want that ball to go down the middle. Again, apply pressure, earn the short ball. Because at the end of the day, what looks more cool? You going for a winning shot and making it once, then missing it under pressure, or applying pressure through a good, well-placed drive and then getting a short ball and working your way up and not making that error. In my opinion, it's always cooler to not miss first rather than going for that hero shot. The next tip is all about closing down the net off an effective third shot drop. You see so many 3-5s getting this situation. They're going to hit a third shot drop like this, they're going to hit it, they're going to watch it, and then suddenly they're going to move and get absolutely crushed. What you want to try and do is this. The idea that I'm going to, as my ball is hit, I'm going to move forward. So here we go. So I'm going to hit my third shot drop, I'm in the air and assessing it. And right there, I've applied lots of pressure to my opponent. And for example, what if you make a bad choice? It's simple. If they can attack me, stay in. So I'm not going to come in, nope, too high, because the ball has bounced up close towards the net tape. What you want to avoid is, in this case, what you want to do, if my third shot drop is going to land and then be below the net, that's my time then to come in and attack my opponent. The next tip is all about returning with a purpose. You see so many 3-5s, they'll hit the return a bit like this. They return, they're not really thinking what they're doing, hitting it, come in, and there's no real concept where the ball's going to land. What we want to work on the idea is, first of all, we want to have so much more depth when we do our return. So, for example, as I'm doing my return, I want to do depth. Here we go. So it's that depth. One thing that people do a lot of is they try to hit the ball too hard in the return. You see, most pros actually have quite a loose or quite a slow return. So pace is not going to win the day here, guys. Depth is. Let's do one more. So you're getting that good depth, pushing them back nice and deep. And then I can apply all the pressure to my opponent by simply adding in that concept of I've got to put my ball return-wise deep and really being conscious of where the ball is landing. Because it really helps you kind of figure out where your next shot's going to be if your return is nice and deep. So we just discussed returning with a purpose. Now we're going to work on the idea of serving with a purpose. So important, again, most 3-5s just don't do. Again, what a lot of 3-5s do is they have their serve and they'll place it somewhere random, which is fine. But what makes an effective serve is variety. What you've seen recently on the PPA tours, you'll probably see on now, is the Ali's new serve. It's like a ridiculously high. So she hits her serve, it's doing this. The major reason for that is variety, serving with a purpose to throw off your opponent. So you'll see some pros, they'll go for a variety of spins. They want to go flat, so they'll go flat. If they want to go with the idea of their more spin, so top spin, they'll get that top spin. And the main reason for this is not to beat your opponent with the actual pace or the speed, it's to beat it with the variety to throw off their rhythm. That's why serving with a purpose, like our returning with a purpose, is very important. So the next part here is all about watching your opponent's paddle phase. Super, super important. You see so many 3-5s and get into a dink battle here. They'll dink and dink and dink, and when a speed up comes, they're not ready. And the reason for that is they're watching the ball, and they're just simply not ready for the ball to come their way because they haven't read it very well. How you can read it is by tracking your opponent's paddle angle. So I'm going to do an example now, me and Carter. He's going to try and surprise me here when doing it with a speed up. I've got to try and react. My job, I'm going to watch his paddle face like a hawk. Hopefully, it'll give me a really good read of what's coming next. And watch his paddle face, nice neutral dink. You can see, when you watch the paddle face, you can see the angle of attack. You know where it's going to go. It's going to really help you get that half a second faster at reacting for that speed up. So, costume change. So from going from a 3-5 to a 4-5, you've got to get your dinks under control. I've mentioned it earlier about pushing the dink. In this part of the video, we're going to focus on our feet. You see so many 3-5s, 4-0s, and some 4-5s, sorry, they dink. There's so much body movement after contact. They're always struggling to find their balance with their feet, which leads to simple errors like you saw there. One thing I want to work on here, guys, is I want to work on your feet being set for a second. You'll see on the screen now that if you look at the pros, they have their feet set for at least a second when doing their actual dinks. I call this the 3S theory, the set, set, swing theory. But it's so important for 3-5s to get this down. So you got setting your feet a second before you hit. So set, hold, dink. Again, set, hold, dink. Stabilize your body. Because the reason for that is, one, it puts pressure on Carter because he just missed. But more importantly, it keeps your head still. If your head is still, you are so much more balanced and in control of that dink, even when under pressure. Yeah. No, I'm good, happy. Because I ripped you in the video, I teased you in the video. I go, because Carl, I just missed that. This next tip is pretty big in my eyes. It's all about depth. So many 3-5s do this. They're up in the kitchen, their opponent's back, and they give them a short ball, which then means that all my advantage of me being up and them being back is completely lost. What you want to do, guys, is that your mentality should always be this. Push them back, push them back, push them back. So if I'm going to push them back, keep them deep. Pace isn't mattering, it's my depth. On the back heel, so eventually I'll get a high ball or an error like so, and they'll miss. Super important. If, for example, to show on the screen now, one person's up and one person's back, push the person that's back and keep them back. Force the pressure and wait for a high ball. Guys, if you apply that to your game, depth on any of your balls, you're going to get yourself to a 4-5 extremely quickly and take out any simple errors.